Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Florida.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Pittsburgh. The Marlins in town for a weekend set against the Pittsburgh Pirates to kickstart a three-city road trip, New York and Philadelphia to follow. But first, we start in the Steel City, and some Marlins fans making the trek as well. Starlin Castro and the Marlins hoping to kickstart this road trip with a victory against Chris Archer and the Pirates tonight. With that, we welcome you inside the broadcast booth, Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth. So here we go here. Last late charge, a 10-day road trip. Got to keep the energy up to finish strong.
Well, and you certainly want to do that, and you want to come into Pittsburgh and play some good baseball. And why not? Why not have Dan Straley on the mound to kick off this trip? He has been so good of late. Right man for the position. You hope to see a little bit more offense on the road. It has been a bit of an issue here in the second half, but if they score a few runs the way the starters have been going, I feel like they got a chance to have a solid 10-game trip.
And Straley went back-to-back with Wei-Yin Chen last time around. Those guys had 8 innings apiece. Maybe the best we've seen Straley in one start.
Well, I'll tell you, between the last 2 starts, of course, he's only given up 1 earned run in his last 2 starts. So you see the 1 earned run there. A season-high 46 sliders in that last start. He has been so good. The fastball command, the slider working, the trust. The last couple of games we've seen it early. First batter of the ball game. Fastball, slider, fastball. Getting into sequence, using that arsenal, and kind of setting up the tone for the game.
And speaking of sliders, we might see a number of those from Chris Archer. We saw him before. He's wearing a different uniform, but this was right after the All-Star break, a Sunday afternoon. He had 13 strikeouts.
Yeah, you know what? This may be the game of sliders tonight is what we'll see between these two. Archer's got a dandy. He throws it more than any pitch, and boy, oh boy, was it on display in the 13K performance. But here's the kicker. The Marlins had a big inning against them. That second inning, they were able to score 4 runs, so maybe that could possibly be the theme. Archer has coming off a good start, but he hasn't pitched overly well, for the Pittsburgh Pirates since the trade.
No, he has not, nor have the Pirates played well since acquiring him. They've lost 19 of 33 since bringing Chris Archer over. The series starts right at the confluence of the 3 rivers. We got Archer, we got Straley, we got Pirates and Marlins. Next. Pittsburgh. Marlins baseball is presented to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason, who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By your local Chevrolet dealers. And by Toyota, let's go places. Here we are in front of just about a packed house, getting there here in Pittsburgh. Marlins, Pirates, first of three. Last real big road trip. There's another road trip coming up in a couple of weeks, but a three-city road trip that begins here tonight. Got Dan Straley on the mound and Chris Archer on the other side. Again, coming off his best start as a Pittsburgh Pirate. We'll get into the Archer angle of things. As there he is, emerging from the dugout, the only Pirate out there, Holly. Is he gonna beat the Marlins single-handedly tonight? Where's the rest of the Pirates?
Well, if you go back to his last start and you eliminate the second inning, he may not need the rest of the Pirates. I mean, he struck out 13, didn't he?
Here they
Do
come.
the math.
You're right. Here they come. All right. I got a little excited there. All right. So Chris Archer, 24th start on the season, but again, his best start as a Pirate was about 5 days ago.
Well, it certainly was, making the 24th. 7th with the Pirates. Here are his numbers with the Pirates. 1-2 with a 5.40 ERA. Now, he's made 3 career starts versus the Marlins, and he's got a 1.80 ERA, including one this year. And of course, I mentioned that 4th inning. The Marlins had a great 4th inning against him. They were all over him. A couple of 2-out hits, a couple of 2-strike hits, and really put together some quality at-bats. Let's go ahead and get you the Auto Nation scouting report for tonight's ball game. Early count advantage, that's undeniable. You're going to learn more about that as this game goes on, and that's actually part of number 2, but let's talk about it for a second. Against the first pitch, 379 batting average, 1-0, 371 in 0-1, 423. What does that tell you? You really want to get after him early. Again, the reason is he's got one of the nastiest sliders in the game of baseball, a batting average against of 233, and he throws it 42% of the time. 93 of the 131 strikeouts on the season, that's 71% on the slider. And short starts, that's kind of been the theme here, other than his last one, which has been a modified delivery to home. He's just barely pitching out of the stretch now, no more of the windup. So his last start was a good one, but on the whole has gone very short. Only 1 6-inning start for the Pirates.
This is the lineup that he will face, and just like Archer wearing a different uniform, a bit of a different lineup than what the Marlins were pumping out in July, just after the All-Star break. Rafael Ortega at the top of the Marlins lineup, presented to you by Southwest. And one new face, at least in terms of the starting lineup, Peter O'Brien over at first base. He hits 7th in front of Magneuris Sierra and Dan Straley. So O'Brien getting a look over at first. We've heard from Don Mattingly the last couple of days that O'Brien may play some first, play some outfield, but tonight gets to start on the infield and hit 7th against Chris Archer.
Let's give you the Pirates defensively behind Archer for tonight's game. Dickerson making his career-high 108th start in left field. Marte, Polanco, Moran, and Merced is your left side of your infield. Kramer and Bell. Kramer making his first big league start. Cervelli behind the plate. He's got a catcher's ERA of 4.02 and he's thrown out 45% of base stealers. He's had a nice season, Cervelli, both offensively and behind the plate.
So Archer ready to roll, and his first pitch of the night misses for ball 1 against Rafael Ortega, who in his last 18 games has been pretty hot. 23 of 75. It's a 307 average. 8 runs scored, 6 walks, 7 RBIs. Some very nice plays in the outfield. And has been a bit of a jump starter at the top of the the Marlins lineup. The 1-1 is slapped foul. The ball and 2 strikes to Ortega. So pitching out of the stretch worked to Archer's benefit his last time out. Also, trusting Francisco Cervelli was a big reason as to why he was so successful last time around. Of course, that relationship between a pitcher and a catcher is not one that just happens overnight. You've got to work to earn the trust of the other half of the bat.
Well, and remember, Archer's got history. I mean, he's got Ray's history, so he's coming over. He's doing his best to kind of blend in, if you know what I mean, kind of get acclimated to his new team and the surroundings and the way things work, and how about the defense behind him and how listen, today's day and age, that is a big-time conversation. So when you trade a pitcher, a lot goes into what they're bringing. It's not just about a nasty slider.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Ortega. And Cervelli will throw down first base to complete the strikeout. That is the first of the night for Chris Archer. And already we have seen the slider as the put-away pitch.
Yeah, we'll give it to you one more time. Again, it's such a big pitch. We told you the percentages, 88, 89 miles an hour, 42% of the time, 94 strikeouts now. I mean, he is starting to really lean on it more and more as the season's gone on. But you know, that adjustment to just pitching out of the stretch, I think, has helped get his mechanics back in gear, back in line.
And now Starlin Castro digs in. Well, Archer struck out the side the last time these two teams, or he faced the Marlins, I should say. And then en route to a 13 strikeout outing, which is still a season high. One and 0 to Castro. Misses a little low. 95 miles an hour from Archer.
Castro had a nice homestand, 6 for 20, couple doubles, couple RBIs.
Home plate umpire tonight is Vic Carapazza. Jerry Lane, the crew chief, is over at first. Roberto Ortiz, the second base umpire, and Greg Gibson is over at third. That one misses low. Archer wanted it, but kind of looked to be a little south of our Fox box there. So we'll take another look.
Certainly a borderline pitch. Certainly understand his reaction, but early in a ball game, got to be careful. Don't get too animated out there. You may lose that pitch all night long.
There's a strike to run the count full, 3-2. Archer does do that. He does pitch with his emotions on his sleeve.
Sure he does.
Kind of feeds off of that when things are going good, you know.
You're absolutely right. I think it's worked against him a little bit, though, this year. You saw the bloated ERA, obviously, with the Pirates and with the Rays combined. And I definitely think at times he gets a little amped up.
Back-to-back strikeouts of Ortega and Castro here in the first inning.
For Archer, you'll see the four-seam fastball, sinker, slider, and change. Occasional, only 10% of the time, that fastball is sitting at 94 to 96 range.
Now JT Realmuto, 20 homers and 70 RBIs on the season, both career highs for a single season. Had his 8-game hit streak snapped with an 0-for on Wednesday. Over his last 9 games, hitting .364 with 4 home runs and 9 RBIs. Well, Archer has been around the zone, even if they all haven't been strikes. That was one of the things that Don Mattingly said before the game. You got to keep Archer in the zone. Certainly referencing that slider that we have seen a couple of times already tonight. Can be a put-away pitch, can look like a strike for most of the way to the plate before usually ends up somewhere out of the strike zone.
I think of Lance McCullers Jr., the Houston Astros, like kind of how he worked last year. And you see this between the two of them where they use the slider more predominantly than the fastball, and what a challenge it is for the hitter. You see 87 to 88, and you're going to see a lot of sliders, and a lot of times you'll see them early, but then you'll see 96 miles an hour. It's got to feel closer to 100 when you haven't seen a fastball right out of the gate. Your eyes kind of adjust to the slider, how it's breaking, what you're looking at, and what you're dealing with, and then all of a sudden he's going to hump up and give you 97. It's only going to help him if he's in the zone.
So just like Archer did to the Marlins as a member of the Rays in July, he strikes out the side in the first inning. When we come back, Dan Straley will face the Buccos here at PNC Park. Bottom of the first next. For the Marlins, set down in order on strikes against Chris Archer. So now Dan Straley will come to the plate. He'll face Starling Marte, Kevin Kramer, and Gregory Polanco here in this first inning. The rest of the Pirates order is presented to you by Southwest. As Marte leads things off, arguably the hottest hitter in this lineup is Gregory Polanco. For Straley, just trying to pick up where he left off his last time out. It's the Toronto Blue Jays. His first pitch of the night is grounded foul. 0-1 to Marte, who may have broken his bat on the first swing of the night.
He may have broken the cap, the cup. A little early, pulled off just a bit. All right, Dan Straley's numbers, making his 23rd start on the season. 4.13 ERA. As we've mentioned many times, coming off his best start, 8 solid innings against the Toronto Blue Jays. 1 earned run in his last 2 starts. In fact, he's coming off one of his best months, 3.30 ERA in the month of August. He had a 2.93 back in May as well. Lefties 2.62, righties 2.11.
Marte ready to roll. The 0-1 bunts and pulls back. Shows bunt at least, and it's a ball and a strike to Marte. Marlins saw him in Marlins Park back in April. A career best 5 hits and a solo home run in the last game of that series. Pirates team that's won 3 straight, but have played themselves out of any sort of playoff hopes. They were in the mix for a while, which is one of the reasons why they have tonight's starting pitcher Chris Archer. Kind of on the periphery of the Central Division / wild card. Wide of third. But as we mentioned before, Clint Hurdle's team has lost 18 of 30 and 19 of 33 since acquiring Archer. So for as good as they were going, it's been maybe just as bad.
And the timing couldn't be worse. They're 14 games behind the hot Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals, and obviously the Brewers been playing good baseball season all season long. As I mentioned, 14 games behind the Cubs, 9 games out in the wild card. 5-5 in their last 10. They did win 3 straight. One thing that's so interesting about the Pirates, and one thing that they've kind of gotten over this year, is their division. I've been around the National League Central over the last bunch of years.
Popped up right side. O'Brien gives way for Castro right up along the line, and there's one away.
Pitch of the Marlins defensively behind Dan Straley tonight. Ortega getting the start, Dean getting the start in left field. Brinson in center, Ortega in right. Anderson, Rojas, Castro, and well, that's a little off. I'm going to give you tonight's starting lineup, or defense behind Dan Straley. Ortega, Brinson, and Sierra. Anderson, Rojas, Castro, and O'Brien. Real Muto behind the plate.
This is Kevin Kramer, a second-round pick out of UCLA in 2015. One of the youngsters that the Pirates are excited to get a look at here in these last few weeks of the season. A .311 hitter in the minor leagues. Grounds one, foul, sharply wide of first. He made his major league debut on Wednesday as a pinch hitter. Rosters expand. One of the young Pirates farmhands that gets a crack at September baseball at the big league level. Starting at second base tonight. Line foul into the seats. Look out.
Out in front of that. As I was mentioning about the Pirates, the one thing that they have overcome is their division. They've played very well against the National League Central, 35-25, but they've actually struggled against the National League East, 10-20 outside the division, 12-21 versus the National League West.
Pirates did take 2 out of 3 from the Marlins back in April. That's right around that time the Pirates were surprising a lot of people. You know, you always have that team or two that comes out of spring training, plays some good baseball that quote unquote wasn't supposed to, and the Pirates were one of those teams. Actually spent 26 days in first place this year. Last day that they were in first was May 17th. Lined out to Ortega in left field for out number 2.
Streaky.
Yes.
They've been streaky this year, and it's like when you add up all the ingredients and kind of look at what the Pirates are on paper and you look at their record at 69-71, it kind of gets you right back to the middle. Great runs that get you back to the middle. They've had bad, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, whether one way or the other, it was always kind of like working back to the middle. Their pitching's been really good in the second half. Offense has been a little bit down. You look at their second half record, 21-22.
Yeah. And the pitching in the second half has been led by the guy you just saw on the left side of your screen, Trevor Williams, who is slated to go on Sunday in the series finale. An 0.72. He's hiding behind Jameson Tyone there on the left.
What are you talking about?
0.72 ERA in the second half. Polanco lifts one to right field. Sierra is going to drift back to the edge of the track and make the play. A 1-2-3 first inning for Dan Straley. it would be very tough to go around Major League Baseball and find a prettier backdrop than what we've. Collinsworth, you're in the shot.
What happened?
You were in the shot, adjusting your chair.
Well, it wasn't working well.
Oh, jeez. Anyway, before your beautiful mug showed up, I was talking about the backdrop here in Pittsburgh.
The wheels were stuck. It wasn't moving properly, my friend. Got to get comfortable in here, man. Trying to
settle in.
Game.
It's a three-game series.
That's
you
right.
Settle it. There you go. I don't think you get in that shot. Terrific vistas from way up here. He's upstairs to Brian Anderson, a ball and a strike. BA got the day off on Wednesday. Of course, the team off yesterday, traveling to Pittsburgh. But 9 strikeouts in the last 3 games combined. And hitless in now as Polanco will make the catch. His last 16 at-bats. One away here in the second.
Lock in the all-new Miami Marlins membership. It all starts here for the 2019 season with new rewards and experiences. Plus, get access to exclusive off-season member events, one-of-a-kind memorabilia, and a chance to swing for your suites at Marlins Park. By September 14th, secure bonus savings and incentives at marlinsenrollment.com.
Miguel Rojas takes a fastball high. 1-0 to Miggy. Getting the start at shortstop today. 10 homers and 48 RBIs. Chop to Josh Bell, who races over to the bag for out number 2. In steps Lewis Brinson, who has looked a lot better since coming back from A, the DL, B, a rehab assignment. And since rosters expanded, he has been on fire. 3 multi-hit games since being added to the roster. Has a 7-game hit streak going.
He's 8 for 18. Maybe one of the more important things even to talk about, and we did talk about this a little bit when he was struggling early on, the strikeouts. Only 2 strikeouts since he's returned.
Got that average over 200 for the first time since early April. First couple of months of this season, certainly a struggle for Lewis, but he's been working hard to get back to where he was prior to the DL stint, when you could start to see things kind of turn around a little bit. They check over at first, no swing. And then unfortunately kind of banged up on a play in the outfield in Colorado. Played with that injury for a few days or a week or so. And then ended up missing about 2 months on the disabled list. But thankfully picking up right where he left off, which after 2 months is certainly not easy to do.
Well, he's bided his time, he's worked hard, and he's gotten back, and he certainly understands the importance of September, and a good performance. It's only going to help the story move into the winter and into next season.
Smacks this one out to right center field. Long run for Marte, and he'll play this one off the base of the wall. Lewis Brinson with a 2-out double, extending that hit streak and getting the Marlins' first hit of the night.
Well, I didn't want to get too far ahead of myself during the Brinson at bat. This is one thing that he's done really, really well, which is stay inside that baseball, use center field, right field, and pick up a number of hits. My goodness, turn it on velocity up at the top of, not even the top of the strike zone, just the top of home plate. That's letter high. My goodness. It's called getting on top of a baseball.
So a runner on second and 2 outs for Peter O'Brien. His first start as a Marlin, got an at-bat on Wednesday. This season in the minor leagues was with the Dodgers before coming over to the Marlins. At .311 in August for New Orleans. 18 runs scored, 6 doubles, 10 home runs, and 30 RBIs. Called strike. The outside corner, 1-1. A guy who has always had big time power. It's always been part of his prospect profile, if you will. Two on the way to O'Brien.
Hanging around the batting cage today, Paul. I'll tell you, O'Brien's got some impressive power. He was routinely hitting the ball out to right field. Just at will. It's pretty impressive to watch.
This one popped up right side. 3 Pirates there, but it'll be Josh Bell to make the catch. Scoreless through an inning and a half. Night, feeling good here at PNC. Confluence of the 3 rivers, the Monongahela, the Ohio, and what's the third? What's the third?
The Santa Maria?
Close. The Allegheny.
Ah, yes.
I thought you were going to guess judiciary, executive, Pavarotti, or whatever the third one is. Domingo, that's it. First pitch swinging for Francisco Cervelli. A fly ball out to left field. 1 pitch, 1 out. We check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Paul, Peter O'Brien in the big league lineup for the first time since 2016, and he says that he is ready to go.
Ready, I feel ready. I feel great, and I'm just happy to go out there and help contribute in any way I can. The biggest thing is just consistency, day in and day out, focusing on my routine and getting my work from there, and that's what gives me confidence and consistency, and at the end of the day, that's going to give me the results that I'm looking for.
I talked to Don Mattingly before the game about Peter O'Brien, and he said he's excited to see what he can do, especially at the plate. And guys, O'Brien swinging the bat really well in New Orleans before he got called up.
Yeah, Jessica, he absolutely was, of course, a native of South Florida, born in Hialeah, went to Miami Braddock High School, University of Miami in there as well. So happy to be home, in a sense, for Peter O'Brien.
Well, opportunity, and he earned it. I mean, some big-time production in the month of August. 10 home runs, 30 RBIs. I mean, he walks. He's got a good eye. I told you about his batting practice today. My goodness, I know you saw some of it.
Yeah.
I mean, he was hitting balls out to right and right center like lefties, power-hitting lefties normally do.
There's a base hit by Corey Dickerson down the left field line. Ortega will slide to cut it off, but it will be a one-out double for Corey Dickerson.
Dickerson, the one guy in the lineup that really does go line to line. He's been struggling a bit of late, just 4 for his last 38 coming into that at bat. Starts this series off with a double down into that left field corner. Ortega did not want to let that ball get too much farther in, or Dickerson, it's a pretty decent speed. He might have ended up at third base.
End of the day, leading the team with a .290 average, and adds to it with the 1-out, 2-base hit, and that'll bring up Josh Bell. Well, Bell, certainly a guy who they have tabbed as the first baseman of the future, hitting .255 this year, 8 homers and 54 RBIs, but he has not had a ribby in almost a month. 19 games since he got his last RBI. That was on the 11th of August. Did miss a little bit of time, a little less than 2 weeks with an oblique issue, but it's kind of been, unfortunately, the thing here in Pittsburgh is that the guys who have produced have basically been the same guys. It's not been a different hero every night, if you will. Not a ton of balance.
Right. Well, Bell certainly dealing with that. It's it's kind of a combination. He's got a good eye. I mean, there's certainly some things that he's impressed with this year, although the numbers are down, only the 8 home runs. I mean, the point that you're trying to make, he had 26 home runs last year, 26 homers and 90 RBIs, and as you just mentioned, hasn't driven in a run in 19 games. Oh, for his last 13 to boot. Out of the lineup the last couple of days. Talking to a few people with the Pirates, they were talking about the production from first and third base as not being kind of where it needs to be. They're looking for improvements next year, not in players, but for the players that are in the positions to perform at a higher level, maybe even provide a little bit more power.
Digging the Sox. I assume that's the Clemente Bridge, although the city of bridges here. There's 3, 4 you can see from high atop PNC Park. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Bell. There's the Clemente Bridge. Walked across that today.
You even picked it.
I did.
I gave you your choice. I said, hey, which bridge you want to walk across? You picked the Clemente Bridge.
The Clemente Bridge. We had also the choice of the Andy Warhol Bridge, but I said, no, we're doing a Marlins Pirates game today. We've got to do Clemente. Tomorrow I'll let you pick the bridge.
Okay.
See? That's how we get along. That was a view from beyond the right field wall, banks of the river. Time called before a 3-2 pitch to Josh Bell. This one hit well out to center field. Brinson is back and he runs out of room. Josh Bell, a 2-run home run to give the Pirates a lead.
Well, the couple of days off, being out of the lineup, he's Got just Josh Bell moving in the right direction. Certainly a hard fought at bat. 3-2 pitch, fastball. It ends up right down the middle of the plate. He stays middle away. It is no walk in the park. Getting one out into the bullpen, especially for a left-handed hitter. It is a long home run, just the third home run he's hit at PNC this season.
403 feet, 104 off the bat. And just like that, the Pirates a 2-0 lead. There's Colin Moran. He lines one out to Brinson, who froze, moves back, and a little leap to make the catch for the second out here in the second inning.
Hey Marlins fans, now you can stream games live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by Coors Light. Download the app and take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball wherever you go. So you're saying I'm not allowed to stand up when we show the beautiful backdrop of PNC Park?
I mean, I would prefer you not.
Yeah, you want me out of that shot?
Just, yeah, I mean, all I'm saying is unless the lights are on,
right,
and we know now is our time to shine,
right,
show off these beautiful faces.
Stay seated.
Just hang out.
Put my seatbelt on.
Put your seatbelt on. Just kind of.
Even if my wheels get stuck.
Just kind of chill.
All right.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah. Directors work hard to frame these shots. Can't have you screwing it up. That's all. 2-run home run by Josh Bell made the Pirates fans stand up. 2-0. Home run for Josh Bell has given the Pirates a 2-0 lead here at PNC Park. Time for the Toyota Inside Look. How have the Marlins played here at PNC Park? Well, they are 21-33 against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Second fewest of any National League team, the Philadelphia Phillies, with 20 wins. Scoring less than 4 runs a game. They've out-homered the Pirates, however, at Three Rivers Stadium. Also, not much success. 15-38 at the old ballpark. So hoping for some different results here this 3-game set for Don Mattingly's bunch. Magneuris Sierra will lead things off. Squares to bunt, takes a strike. 3 strikeouts in the first inning for Chris Archer. Worked around a 2-out Lewis Brinson double in the second. Deals an 0-1 to Sierra, who does lay down the bunt. Archer fields it, throws to Bell, a little high, but Bell able to keep the toe on the bag and retire Sierra for the first out. Well, Tomorrow, an afternoon game here in Pittsburgh. Wei-Yin Chen and Ivan Nova, the two starting pitchers. Marlins live pregame show on the air at 12:30, and the first pitch a little after 1. So a night game and 2 day games on the schedule in this 3-game set in Pittsburgh. Then it's off to New York for 4, Philadelphia for 3.
Well, Chen's been throwing the ball very well last 7 starts, 2.76 ERA. He's coming off a pretty decent road start. Up in DC the last time he pitched on the road, 5 2/3, couple of earned runs.
Archer's 0-1 to Straley in there for a called strike. Now Archer trying to keep the theme going for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Their starters the last 11 games here in Pittsburgh have a 1.78 ERA. There's 13 earned runs and 65 2/3 innings pitched. A little high, ball and 2 strikes to Straley. Blocked by Cervelli, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, there was a lot of praise going around, speaking of Archer and Cervelli, last time around. And when Archer pitched, as we mentioned, the best start in a Pirates uniform. See the words and motions of encouragement for Cervelli, who said after his last time out he was amazing and he came to pitch. His first 5 starts with Pittsburgh, 1 and 2 with a 6.45 ERA. Opponents hit .313 against him.
Well, Archer's as big to the here and now as he is to their future moving forward. I mean, if Archer's going to be the ace that, well, maybe Garrett Cole represented or a few others in their past, I mean, somebody really need to kind of step into that spot.
His first walk is to the opposing pitcher, Dan Straley, 1 on 1 out.
Regardless, after 5 starts, you don't want to see an ERA up over 6.
Back to the top of the order for Rafael Ortega. Of course, Archer has been a guy who's always been talked about as one of the best around, but the numbers don't always show it. So perhaps another sort of reclamation project for the pitching coach here in Pittsburgh, Ray Searage. He is a guy who's on a short list, if you ask people around the game, of best pitching coaches, and just seems to get guys to find a gear that maybe in other spots they haven't been able to find.
Yeah, he's the pitching coach whisperer.
And there you go. That one gets by Cervelli. Fortuitous hop, but Straley will advance to second, albeit with a slide. How about that?
Boy, Dan Straley, way to run those bases. When he took off, he was expecting a little less action at second base, as this ball was behind Ortega. Boy, that I remember a few of these in my career. These are the hardest to process. That ball's coming into a spot that you're just not used to seeing, which is behind you, and your first movement, almost always is into the baseball. Ortega flinched for a second, but then he froze and let it pass. You see Archer stressing a little bit. Interestingly enough, we were talking about this a little bit during the pregame. He has really struggled in the 2nd and 3rd inning this season. 40 of the 63 earned runs he's allowed have come in the 2nd or 3rd inning, including 9 home runs. And bring it up, the Marlins had a huge 2nd inning against him when he was in a Rays uniform.
Out to center field. This is Marte to catch the liner off Ortega's bat. And there are 2 outs. I mean, why do you think that might be? Maybe not even a definite answer, but just a hunch.
Listen, when you look at his numbers in that 1st inning, and once again, oh, by the way, struck out the side in the 1st inning, right? So, sometimes you go through that. Maybe you let up just a little bit. Maybe you lose that. I talk about this all the time. At the beginning of a game, you have a little bit more adrenaline as you take the field for the first time. You feel the crowd. You feel the excitement. You go out there. You certainly see how much passion and enthusiasm he pitches with, how much emotion. Sometimes you take a deep breath. Have you noticed he hasn't been as, bouncing around as much on the mound? Sometimes you just kind of work through the process of the game and you kind of realize that, yeah, you know what, I'm going to be out here for the next couple of hours. But it's an oddity. I mean, it's certainly worth mentioning because the ERA is up near 9 in both innings, and the rest of the time, I mean, we're talking two and below. It's really, his season has really been almost defined by the second and third inning production of the opposite team.
Inside to Castro. Cervelli and Archer both wanted that one. But 1 ball, 1 strike. Castro a strikeout victim in the first inning. Slaps that one foul into the third deck here in Pittsburgh. 1-2. 4 multi-hit games in the last 7 for Starlin Castro. And I think at the end of this season, still what, 3-4 weeks to go, but at the end of this season, I think we'll evaluate his season as being one that was really consistent.
And that's certainly something that the Marlins needed offensively. There has not been a tremendous amount of consistency up and down the lineup, but he's been one of them. Job holding up. 64 2-strike hits. Tied for 4th in the National League.
Straley, the runner on second, leads away as Archer delivers a 2-2 pitch that misses low. That's a full count.
Certainly worth mentioning. You had asked me about, why he would struggle in that second or third inning. I'll also add this. I'm sure it's crossed his mind by now, and it's probably in there, meaning he recognizes that he knows and his body feels the struggles that he's gone through in that second and third inning. So it does become a little bit more between the ears as the season goes on.
Castro, center field, will fall in. Straley being held at third. Another 2-strike hit for Starlin Castro.
Nice at bat by Starlin. Center cut fastball stays inside, pulls that knob through, the hands through, and lines one into center field. We certainly do not want to run on Starling Marte. He's got 10 outfield assists. He's one of the better defenders in the game. He's moved over to center field for the first time this season, taking over the duties of Andrew McCutchen. He's done a fantastic job for the Pirates throughout his career. He's actually got a couple of gold gloves as a left fielder.
JT Realmuto fouls the first pitch back. Well, just tonight's outfield alone, Dickerson 7 outfield assists, Marte 10, and Polanco 8. But as a team, this team is tied for 3rd in Major League Baseball with 29 outfield assists. The 0-1 to JT. Right back to the mound. Archer flips it over to first. And the Marlins leave a couple of runners on base through 2.5. Pirates with a 2-0 lead.
Hey, a really cool opportunity today for 4 Marlins players. Austin Dean, Yadiel Rivera, Isaac Galloway, and Magneuris Sierra had the opportunity to go and check out the Roberto Clemente Museum. It is only a few miles away from PNC Park. They had a chance to get a private tour, see all sorts of memorabilia, and learn all about the life and legacy of Roberto Clemente. And Yadiel Rivera, you just saw him there taking pictures. How about this? Yadi left with a replica bat of the same bat that Clemente used in 1971, one of the years that Pittsburgh won the World Series. And he used it today in batting practice. Now that bat weighs about 38 ounces. Guys, I asked him how it felt, and he said it felt heavy.
Really, really heavy. You're right. Jessica, thanks so much. As Chris Archer takes a called strike to lead things off. That's like swinging a tree trunk.
Well, 38 ounces in today's game, I can almost promise you this. I mean, of course, I'm slow bunt out front. Nice job by JT. First out here in the bottom of the third. I can promise you that nobody in Major League Baseball is swinging a 38-ounce bat. I would be willing to go all the way down to 36 and say I don't think anybody in baseball is even swinging a 36-ounce bat.
And look at that, an extra, what, 3 inches on the edge of that bat there?
Yeah, I think it's 36 and a half, 38 ounces. That is a fantastic piece of wood. I mean, if you could swing it in today's game, which again, I don't think anybody could because there's just so much velocity, the results would be fantastic. Because the barrel, again, you know, you look for that. If you can swing with an extra ounce, it's always good to, because you get a little bit better bat, you get a little bit better wood. But the thing that you have is that with all of this velocity, guys have been kind of going in the opposite direction, trending down more to the 31-ounce bat.
Just to catch up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we mean, honestly, our day and age, we used to talk about leg kicks. Most guys are trying so hard to get that timing with their front leg down so that they can hit 97 miles an hour.
Ball and 2 strikes to Starling Marte, who popped up to lead things off for the Pirates in the first. They'll check over at first. They don't even need to check. It's strike 3. Couldn't hold up.
Whether you're from Dade or Broward, speak English or Spanish, your voice counts. Marlins are committed to elevating your experience at the ballpark. Share your feedback online or at the ballpark and enter to win prizes throughout the remaining games this season. Visit marlins.com/DMALO to get started. One more homestand.
6 more at home right at the end of this road trip. 2 games with the Washington Nationals, a day off, and then 4 with the Reds. A road trip to wrap up the regular season. As Kevin Kramer swings and hits one into right field. A 2-out base hit. And that's the first major league hit for Kevin Kramer. Family here to see it, and congratulations to the Pittsburgh Pirates youngster.
Yeah, that's a big moment for him, no doubt about it. Had a real nice at bat his first time up. In fact, lined out to left. Pitch up in the zone, stayed right on it. Slider and ripped it into right field. That's a big memory. Get over to first base and kind of everything comes flooding back, Paul. Every bus trip, every extra swing in the cage, you know, whether there's a college career involved or not, but everything kind of adds up to that moment right there.
Well, you knew he was going to get it. 311, 35 doubles, 15 homers, 59 RBIs in 129 AAA games this season. So it's only a matter of time, but congratulations to Kevin Kramer. Here's Gregory Polanco. Takes a called strike. StatCast AI is powered by AWS. See why Rojas, Castro, and of course O'Brien. 3 Marlins on the right side of the infield.
Career high 23 home runs. I thought we just showed you the shift. You ever heard the phrase lift and separate?
Yes, I have.
Polanco has embraced that this year. This has been his go-to game, and it's certainly produced, well, 23 home runs, as I mentioned, a career high. He's sitting on 81 RBIs. His career high is 85. 838 OPS coming into tonight's ballgame would be a career best. He's one of the few Pirates that's figured out PNC Park, at least as far as home runs are concerned. 12 of his 23 have been hit here. That's one thing that has been lacking this season for the Pirates: home runs at PNC Park.
What I had alluded to earlier, August 15th, Elias Diaz led off the fourth inning with a solo home run. Over the next 167 innings, the Pirates hit 8 home runs. In this order: Frazier, Polanco, Frazier, Frazier, Polanco, Polanco, Frazier, Polanco. That was it.
Yep.
So there was not a lot of, as I was mentioning earlier, home run distribution. They may have been hitting some here or there, but it was the same couple of guys. And Starling Marte hit a home run to kind of snap that streak and spread the wealth a little bit. Josh Bell's 2-run home run tonight. The difference with 2 outs in the third as Polanco skies this one behind second base. It will be Rojas to make the catch. Straley strands a runner. 2-0 through 3. Fourth inning, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. I think we'll take that. A Florida fan, Florida Gator fan. Well, there's some Marlins fans here too. And, tomorrow, one of the reasons why when the initial schedule came out, the game was at 7 o'clock. It's been bumped up because Penn State and Pitt will be playing a block or two over at Heinz
That's
Field.
probably a pretty big game around here.
Think so? Be a big deal. Did you hook up a suite for us yet, or still working on that?
I have a game to do tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's my top priority. And until that game is finished, I got nothing.
Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. Do my homework. Dedicated to my job.
That's
Whatever.
Right. Dedicated to my job. Focus. How about you, Mr. Get Me Tickets?
Yeah, just looking for the hookup. Obviously. Up the middle, a base hit for Brian Anderson. Boy, he could have used that, huh? That snaps an 0 for 16 for BA. Leads things off here in the fourth.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy saving expert. Go to fpl.com/beattheheat.
The leadoff single for Anderson will bring up Miguel Rojas. making a ground out to Josh Bell back in the second inning. There's a called strike. For Archer, he has surrendered 3 hits. Brinson's double, Castro's single, and Anderson's single. Didn't allow a hit until the 6th inning in his last start against the Atlanta Braves. Right back to Archer. Gets the 1 and gets 2.
Well, Archer has defended his position pretty well tonight. Now this throw to second base, and you see the step and throw. Nice mechanics from Archer. Exactly what you want to do. You noticed on the couple of throws to first base, he lobbed the ball a bit. A good idea there to get a little step into the throw. Didn't throw it flat-footed. Got some momentum going towards second base. Able to get the double play.
2 outs for Brinson, who doubled back in the second inning. Now, of course, a situation like that play with Archer, you don't have all kinds of time, but sometimes we see throwing on the downslope of the mound can be a little tricky.
Well, a lot of times what you see is a pitcher freezes. After he gets the ball, he turns to where he wants to throw the ball, and the feet stop working. The feet work in the mechanics of pitching and everything it's about the delivery at that period of time. But you watch it, I see it constantly. Guy makes a pitch down the mound, fields the ball, turns to the base, and the lower half just out of the equation the rest of the way. And when you do that, guess what ends up happening? You end up throwing it high. I'll show you one more look. If you're a young pitcher, it's exactly the way you want to do it. You get some momentum going, you step into your throw, and you throw a strike towards the second base bag.
PFPs spend hours doing that in the spring.
Pitcher fielding practice. For those who don't know what that meant. Ball.
No, I had you. I got you. All good. 4th strikeout of the night for Archer. Gets Brinson to end the 4th. Baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Cleveland Clinic. Stiff joints, aches and pains. Trust Cleveland Clinic, Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. And by Simply Healthcare. Live the Simply life. Beautiful night here in Pittsburgh at a beautiful ballpark in the Steel City. Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth, Jessica Blaylock with you. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Francisco Cervelli, Corey Dickerson, and Josh Bell against Dan Straley. Pirates have themselves a 2-0 lead, first of a 3-game set between these two clubs.
The 32-year-old Cervelli having a career year offensively. Career highs in homers and RBIs, as we've mentioned. 11 homers, 51 RBIs, 829 OPS. Finds himself in the 4 spot in the lineup. He's been hitting 300 since the All-Star break.
Like the call on the check swing. No. Oh. He's another one. I love watching plays with an immense passion for the game. Lots of gyrations out there. Probably like me, talks with his hands a lot.
A very animated, very emotional player. Certainly one of the captains of this team.
Start of the day, top 10 in the National League in on-base percentage, but will not get on base here. A called strike 3, second strikeout of the night for Straley. And on the air early tomorrow afternoon tilt here in Pittsburgh. South Florida Honda dealers present Marlins Live, the pregame show. Craig Minervini, Tommy Hutton, and Jeff Nelson back home in Florida in advance of Wei-Yin Chen and Ivan Nova. Last time around, it was Straley and Chen that went back-to-back starts, 8 innings of work. Let's see what Chen has for an encore tomorrow against Ivan Nova. Corey Dickerson fouls that one away. 0-1. Dickerson had a double and came around to score on the Bell home run in the second. Dickerson, a guy who in his past, just kind of looking at his numbers, has shaved 10% off of the strikeout percentage. He was up at 24%. He's down at 15% strikeouts. Like, that was kind of his thing. Big time power when he caught up with it, but catching up with it consistently had been a problem.
Well, his time with Colorado, and a lot of guys come through Colorado. I can speak to this as a former Rocky. You know, you fall in love with the ballpark. You fall in love with the fact that, you know, a lot of hard hit balls in the air almost always get out, and you can put up some big time numbers. But in some ways, he's reinvented himself, turned himself into a line-to-line hitter, leads his team in batting average. We saw the double the other way his first time up. He's been a mainstay in the middle of this lineup. You watch him. Dan Straley gets ahead 2 strikes. He'll choke up about 3 inches on the bat. Not sure his mindset has changed, but the approach has changed a bit.
Well, perhaps the approach of this entire club. Lowest strikeout percentage in the National League, the Pittsburgh Pirates. However, they've been set down on strikes for the first 2 outs of this 4th inning.
Talked him right into it, didn't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're right. I mean, the Pittsburgh Pirates generally put the ball in play. They don't walk a whole lot. They don't strike out a whole lot either. But this is a great slider. For getting ahead, getting strike 2 on that outside edge, using the slider, goes right back to it one more time.
That'll bring up Josh Bell. Takes a strike inside corner, 0-1. It was Bell's 2-run home run to the left of center field into the bullpens. That gave the Pirates their 2-0 lead. Outside 2-1 to Bell. Straley, first time that he had gone 8 innings this season, his last time out. Only the 3rd time in his career that he had completed 8 innings of work. And so once last year, a Career high 8 1/3 innings in July in San Francisco. Tonight has done a nice job getting ahead of hitters. 13 of 15 batters faced. A first pitch strike.
So far tonight, just the one mistake really to Bell. He has put the ball where he's wanted. Even that slider was deliberately going down in the zone and out over the plate. See if Bell would chase.
Called strike 3. And Dan Straley strikes out the side in the 4th. Cervelli, Dickerson, and then Bell frozen on the outside corner.
Yay.
In Major League history, Dontrelle Willis in 2005, the Marlins' first 20-game winner. 12-1 win over the Nationals at RFK Stadium. 6 innings, 4 hits, a run. He was, of course, 2 for 4 that day. The D-Train. 20-game winner on this day in 2005.
Should have won the Cy Young that year.
I am digging right now. First, Peter O'Brien grounds to third. One pitch and
you don't
one out
need
here
to
in the
dig.
fifth.
I'm just telling you, he should have won the Cy Young.
I don't doubt it. I'm just going to look it up and kind of get a refresher course on the competition that year. That's all.
Well, D-Train, just so you know, I didn't doubt you.
We say that was 2005. He was second. He was second in the Cy Young vote that year to Chris Carpenter. Let's see. Carpenter was 2.83. Dontrelle 2.63. All right. Both had 7 complete games. Dontrelle had 1 more shutout. Carpenter 5 more innings. Whatever.
Would you say complete game?
Yeah, I know. And 7 of them.
What is that?
I think it's when the pitcher goes more than 6. Yeah, Dontrelle was 22-10. Chris Carpenter 21-5. So yeah. Oh well. Carpenter 213 strikeouts. Dontrelle 170.
And outs and out, pal.
Outs and out. Not disagreeing. I'm putting it all together as to why the voters would have voted a certain way.
And outs and out.
Okay. I do, however, remember 2005. I was working at ESPN, and one of my jobs there was to make the headlines. And I remember the headline that I wrote when Carpenter won the Cy Young was
And outs and out.
It was no, that was the sub headline. It was built for success. Carpenter wins Cy Young.
Wow, that's pretty clever. Problem is, you got the wrong guy.
Well, hey, I control what I can control.
You should have said something like,
They got it wrong.
Willis wills it.
Willis robbed of a Cy Young. That would have gone over with an accompanying article that was Carpenter was great this year.
Willis wills it.
Okay. All right. No D-Train reference?
Well, you can go there if you want. You should have won it. That's my only point.
All right.
See my Marlins tie on? Did you wear your Marlins tie today?
No, not a Marlins tie. Different. My son picked this one up.
It's a nice tie.
Thanks. We're getting a lot of compliments on it. Straley bunts, Bell fields, and Sierra up to second. Even I got a Craig texted me, said he liked it.
Did he?
Not in so many words.
That's nice of him to reach out.
Yeah. Well, he's probably not doing much. Back at the shop, getting set, hanging out with the guys.
That's right.
And we're going to check in with them after the fifth inning.
I love it.
Yeah.
See what tie he's got on.
Probably a doozy. Back to the top of the order for Rafael Ortega. Sierra on its second. And Sierra will be stranded there on the pop up to second base. Archer is through 5 with a 2-0 lead. And Straley towing the slab. How about the Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight? Sean Reynolds down with A-Ball, Batavia. A midseason all-star, 76 games, led the New York Penn League with 17 home runs, 52 RBIs. 6'7", 237 out of Redondo Beach, California, a 4th-round pick of the Marlins in 2016.
First pitch in here in the bottom of the 5th inning. I'll tell you what, how effective has the slider away, that backdoor slider to the left-handed hitters, been tonight against the Pirate lefties. Dan is putting his slider just about anywhere he wants with Will.
1-1 pitch to Colin Moran, misses upstairs. Mentioned that Reynolds, a 4th-round pick in 2016. Moran, 6th overall pick by the Marlins in 2013. Traded to the Astros in 2014 and traded to the Pirates this past January in a deal for Garrett Cole. From Port Chester, New York. His uncle, B.J. Surhoff, who had a 19-year big league career. Garrett Cole been this year? 2.86 ERA and 28 starts. He goes tonight against David Price in Boston. A bit of a showdown and a pitcher's duel too. Boston a 1-0 lead in that game. JD Martinez, believe it or not, with another RBI. A sacrifice fly off of Garrett Cole.
JD really pushing for that Triple Crown. I believe he caught Betts going into today, both at 335.
Betts with a 2 for 2 at the moment. This is fun now, right? Every at bat it fluctuates. He's at 338, and Martinez 0 for 1 is 335.
Right, so his batting average hasn't changed, but going back and forth.
Moran sends one out to center field for Brinson with room. First out here in the 5th. JD Martinez making a bid for the Triple Crown.
He's got a comfortable lead in the RBIs, but he's getting pushed by Betts in batting average, and obviously Chris Davis of the A's in the home runs.
Davis has 40, Martinez 39. RBIs, his closest competition, also Chris Davis, but well, now 10 different. 116 to 106. There's a strike to Jordy Mercer. If you had to make a pick right now for AL MVP, who do you have? Mercer out to center. Brinson backing up to the track. 2 down.
Well, that's a really, really good question. One that I'd love to be able to put some analysis and thought into. But if you're going to ask me right off the top, I have a hard time going. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this. I'll frame it this way then. Let's just say JD Martinez wins the Triple Crown.
Right.
Do you need any more than that? Playing for a team that
just depends on how
8 games, 10 games.
Much like he is in the standings, you know, talking about the batting average and everything else. There's more to the story. Like, my first response is, you thought I was getting ready to say JD. I wasn't.
No, I didn't know.
I was getting ready to say Mookie Betts.
And you wouldn't have been wrong.
Right.
Either.
And so I think this is going to be an interesting one as it comes down the stretch here, the month of September. Mildly playing games that matter, if you know what I mean, talking about the Boston Red Sox, but that competition, this could push JD. See, the one thing JD loses is the fact that Betts is a pretty good defender and he plays every day.
Yeah.
And he's out there, so that doesn't factor in the equation. And then you've got the batting average and the homers and the RBIs and the stolen base. I mean, a lot of other things that kind of factor into this.
Right. And of course there was that debate. What was it, 2011, 2012, whatever the year was, with Trout and Cabrera going head to head.
Right.
Trout had, remember that year? Trout had a great year. It was that year, but the year that Miguel Cabrera won the Triple Crown, and everybody thought, well, he won a Triple Crown. It hadn't been done in forever. He should win the MVP. And then there were the Trout supporters who thought, well, first of all, the Triple Crown numbers don't mean what they used to mean, and there's still a little bit of that divide.
No, they still do. I mean, again, it depends on who you talk to, but I mean, if you're talking to me, they still matter. Yeah, I'm not going to dismiss them because you're not going to dismiss my childhood. You're not going to dismiss my teenage years or the professional ones either, when I spent hours on baseball cards, and they most definitely mattered in everything that summed up my life.
Come on, Archer into the gap in right center field, going to have extra bases. He will pull up at second with a 2-out double.
Just his 3rd career hit. Archer, pretty good athlete, pretty good swing there. Even a nice little finish as the bat comes flying out of the hands. He knows he's off to the races, splits the gap and gets himself a double.
He's screaming out of the box, flipping the bat. His first career double.
The Karate Kid there? Wax on, wax off?
Could have been. It was like the half. It was just the one. Maybe a steering wheel
Well, first career extra base hit.
Now 3 for 37 in his career. And medical attention for Dan Straley. Trainer Dustin Luker out there to check on Dan. Infield has come in. Pitching coach on the Avens. Manager Don Mattingly out there as well. I think he reached for his left side. Yeah, that's what they're looking at.
That's not a good sign if it's an oblique. Let's take another look.
And that will be the last pitch he throws tonight as Dan Straley is walking off the mound. Pointing to that left side. And rapidly getting ready in the bullpen a number of Marlins. So if we get any word as to what it is, of course we'll pass that along to you. Marlins are going to make the Florida Lottery call to the bullpen in just a moment. Certainly don't know who yet, but 3 or 4 guys out there stretching. Well, we'll step aside and have a better idea of who's coming out of the Marlins bullpen here in the 5th. In the bottom of the 5th inning with 2 outs, and Tyler Kinley is going to come in out of the bullpen. The new Monopoly jackpot scratch-offs from the Florida Lottery are a new spin on a classic. They are loaded with prizes from $10,000 to $2 million, so unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. So Dan Straley leaving with an injury in a little bit of time, as Kinley will have as much time as he needs to get ready. So we check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Paul, we know about Chris Archer, the pitcher. He's also on base right now. But how about Chris Archer, the cartoon character? Back in 2016, when Archer was still playing with the Rays, he was one of 5 big leaguers that had the opportunity to lend his voice and his likeness to a cartoon called Uncle Grandpa. Now, in that show, Uncle Grandpa helps people solve problems. So in that particular episode starring Archer and company, a couple of Major League Baseball players helped out a Little League team. I bet that was a cool experience for everyone, including the show's creator, who apparently is a huge baseball fan.
Yeah, Chris Archer has always been known to be one of those guys who is very willing and able to give back to the community. Did so in St. Pete, from North Carolina, does some stuff there as well, and certainly, I'm sure, over time, as he continues to get his bearings and get settled here in Pittsburgh, he will do the very same. So he retreats to second base as Tyler Kinley continues his warm-up tosses. This will be his 2nd outing with the Marlins this year. The 40 appearances with New Orleans, but came over and pitched against the Philadelphia Phillies a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he had a real solid inning. So this is the encore. Good to see. Came out and pressed that one inning he pitched against the Philadelphia Phillies on the 4th of September. Struck out 2, didn't walk anybody. He was quite efficient. So very good numbers. His last 14 games with Nola, 1.35 ERA. Also had 3 saves. For Kinley, he's going to get an awful lot of opportunity here in the month of September to impress.
So pitching coach Juan Nieves and the rest of the Marlins will await word on Dan Straley's health status. Grabbing at that left side as he walked off the mound. Well, the medical staff will worry about that. Those in the dugout will worry about the 2-0 deficit. Try to keep it right here. Starling Marte. Let's see an 0-1 pitch from Kinley. A pop-up and a strikeout tonight for Marte. One in there for a called strike.
Certainly holding out hope for Dan Straley that this isn't too long. He did last season with a 4.26 ERA, and most of us certainly impressed with Dan's body of work, but struggled in September. I was really pulling for a strong September, get that ERA maybe under 4.
Roller to third, barehanded. Anderson safe at first. A swinging bunt for Marte.
Just a little bit too much speed in the box. Brian Anderson did everything he could do. Marte gets out quick. And he can flat out fly. Beats it out. This inning will move on. Runners on first and third, 2 down.
Well, that'll bring up Kevin Kramer, who had his first big league hit in his last trip. 1-4-2 in the ball game. Kinley was originally, not originally, but recently a Rule 5 selection of the Minnesota Twins and returned to the Marlins by the Twins back in May. First and third, 2 out, bottom of the 5th inning. Archer with a double is over at third, and Marte, the infield single, is on at first. Here's the 0-1 pitch. This is high, a ball and a strike. Runner goes from first, no throw. And Marte in the second base with a steal.
That's his 31st stolen base this season. He's had at least 30 stolen bases in 4 of the last 5 seasons, in fact. So we'll keep our eyes on that as the series goes on. He's their threat, their main threat to run.
He's got the 30 steals, and he's 2 shy of 20 home runs. Something that hasn't happened all that often in Pirates history. The 20 homer, 30 steal season.
That's right. He's on the verge of doing that. Needs 2 more home runs in September. Barry Bonds and Andy Van Slyke are the only 2 to do it. In fact, both of them did it in '87 at the same time.
2-2 pitch. Left field, long run for Ortega. Won't get there in time. Pirates are 4 games over 500 at home this year. They've been a very streaky club. As Holly mentioned before, remember they had an 11-game win streak in mid-July. That ended July 25th. And they made up 6 games in the National League Central standings in that time, but they are 16-22 since then. Payoff pitch from Kinley into right field. Sierra is there. The inning that started with Dan Straley on the mound, he left with an injury. It ends 2-0. Because you sent me a text about it. Appreciate it.
I think he's just feeling guilty.
He might be, and I hope he does. Back here in Pittsburgh, and thank you very much, Craig, for checking in. The in-game jackpot presented by the Florida Lottery. Since 2015, Chris Archer is in the top 5 when it comes to strikeouts, 870. But guys like Max Scherzer and Chris Sale kind of in a whole other stratosphere when it comes to the K.
Right. One thing that really stands out there, as you mentioned, you know, even bigger numbers, maybe going a little bit longer, even the quality starts. Archer has been unfortunately trending in a different direction. Of course, we haven't seen that tonight. He's been outstanding, going all the way back to the first inning. Coming into this season, no less than 19 quality starts in any of the last 4 seasons. This season's only got 9. When he gets through the 6th, he'll at least be at that threshold one more time.
Castro lines one out to left field. In to make the play is Dickerson for the first out in the 6th.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy saving expert. Go to FPL.com/beattheheat.
One out for JT Realmuto, who is 0 for 2 tonight. Strikeout. Ground ball back to the mound. Next pitch will be number 70 for Archer. Chopper past the dive of Moran at third, down the left field line. It'll be extra bases for JT Realmuto, who stays red hot. It's in 9 of his last 10 games and in scoring position with 1 out in the 6th.
Well, looking to be aggressive early in the count, gets a breaking ball and out in front of it just a bit. That top spin, as you see him hitting over the top of it, kind of picks up speed as it goes down the third baseline. Well, really no shot, even if he comes up with it. He just save him getting to second base, unable to do that.
So in steps Brian Anderson, who got a hit back in the 4th inning. Snapped an 0 for 16 for BA. Takes the ball inside, 1-0. So we have an update on Dan Straley, by the way, Holly. Sorry to interrupt. A left oblique strain, currently listed as day-to-day. Strike on Anderson, 1-1. Certainly don't want to go too far down the road of speculation with Straley, but they say day to day, and hopefully that's all it was. Hopefully it was nothing too serious, but and I only bring this up because of where we are on the schedule. I'm sure if there would be any sort of risk involved of getting him back out there or rushing him back out there with 3 weeks or so left in the season. Can't see much of him, but again, no official word, listed as day to day, and we hope that's all it is. Harlan Garcia out of the Marlins pen. Two pitch to Anderson on the way. Fights this one off down the right field line, but that'll get into the seats. Still 2-2. Fastball misses outside. Count runs full. We knew the slider was going to be a big pitch tonight for Archer. And he has thrown that more than any other pitch. 29 of his 76 pitches have been the slider. Will he go to it on 3-2? He will, and it misses outside. Anderson didn't budge, and the Marlins have the tying runs aboard here in the 6th.
A nice at bat by Anderson. Last couple of at bats have been pretty good. Base hit up the middle last time. Battles back for the walk here in the 6th.
Four swings and misses on the slider tonight. He had 7 swings and misses on the slider when he struck out 13 Marlins back in July. Now Miguel Rojas. Actually, I shortchanged it. 6. 13 swings and misses back in July. Nonetheless, it has been a big pitch for him.
Certainly has. He's probably going to lean on it a few more times to get out of this 6th inning. It's a pivotal inning. We were talking about this earlier today. I found it very interesting. The Pirates, the starter goes 6 innings, and certainly we know what inning it is. 46 and 28. Just 22 and 43 when their starter doesn't last 6 innings. Pirates bullpen has been good in a lot of areas, but apparently overexposure is not a good thing.
Evidently not. And they were perhaps a little overexposed last time Archer pitched. Only the Pirates' 2nd loss of the season when leading after 7. Rojas did not go around. Ball and 2 strikes. Very close. But one thing we learned earlier this year from our rules expert Rich Marazzi, there was no official rule on the check swing.
It's not when you break your wrists.
No official rule.
It's not when the barrel gets out in front of home plate.
No official rule. It's what I learned. I'm just passing on what I learned.
Basically what you're telling me is you got to be a pretty good salesman.
Absolutely. Of course.
Francisco Cervelli tried to sell it a little earlier. It didn't work though.
No, he did not. He was not happy about it either. Realmuto at 2nd and Anderson at 1st. Double and a walk respectively. A 1-2 pitch to Miguel Rojas in the dirt, gets away from Cervelli, but he's able to pounce on it quick enough that neither runner moves up.
It's got to be an instant read if you're a base runner at 1st or 2nd base. Of course, Brian Anderson's only as fast as JT Realmuto, the runner in front of him. He obviously can't go anywhere until JT reads it, but if you don't get that initial break read, you can't go.
Now the 2-2 pitch. In there, called strike 3.
Well, after a number of sliders, able to sneak a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, inner third, low inner third, pick up that 2nd out here in the 6th. Take another look as Cervelli slides in late. Rojas probably looking away, thinking slider. He goes to it so many times and able to get 94 by him.
Now Brinson, double in the 2nd. Now 5 strikeouts for Archer tonight. He has issued 3 walks, but none of them have come back to haunt him just yet. Marlins down 2-0. Two balls and no strikes. Rodriguez up in the Pirates bullpen. Richard Rodriguez, the righty. Brinson, a fly ball left field. Back is Dickerson at the wall. Gone! A 3-run home run for Lewis Brinson, and the Marlins have taken the lead.
Oh, well, you can live by the slider, you can die by the slider. Lewis Brinson 2-0. The slider splits the plate and stays up all over it. have yourself a ball game. Lewis Brinson double to go along with it earlier in the ball game, and a huge 3-run bomb here in the 6th.
Marlins in front by a run as O'Brien takes a called strike.
All right, 2-0 breaking ball, 87 miles an hour. Archer knows it the minute, honestly, the minute it left the bat, he pulls off his hat and reacts. We saw Dickerson, the left fielder, kind of pursuing it back to the wall. Let's take another look from high home. Watch Dickerson. He gets a good read, but this ball just continues to carry on out. Huge moment for Lewis Brinson. Man, has he been good since he got back.
He has. There's been some hard contact. The double he had was 98 miles an hour off the bat. That home run, 102.5.
Well, and again, we've talked about some of these moments he's set up. I mean, when you go out of the zone like he did for the double the first time, I mean, you got to feel like, man, this man can't get anything by me tonight. Almost sit on that slider. Archer raced him with 98 at the letters and got on top of it, drove it off the right center field wall first time up. Well, you do that to a fastball, you get up there your third time. What do you think? Okay, now I'm ahead 2-0 in the count. I bet he goes to the slider because he's thinking if I throw a fastball anywhere near the plate, he's going to do what he did in the first at bat.
Ryan strikes out, but the Marlins have taken the lead on one swing of the bat. Lewis Brinson with a 3-run home run to left field, and the Marlins have a 1-run lead for 5½. Thanks to Lewis Brinson, a 3-run home run. It was his second extra base hit of this game. Let's take a closer look at the offensive night, the Coors Light refreshing finish.
Let me tell you something. This is impressive. Watch where this pitch is. Cervelli's coming out of his crouch to get it. My goodness. 98 miles an hour, well above the strike zone. I absolutely believe sets up this moment, not from the Brinson perspective, but from the perspective of Archer. You go out of the zone, you do that to a fastball early in a game, a pitcher remembers that. You get ahead in the count in a big moment in the ball game. He says, I'm going to the slider here. I've got to throw my best pitch because this guy's absolutely all over my fastball. What's he do? He hangs it, throws it right down the middle of the plate. Brinson turns it around. Huge moment for Mr. Brinson.
And now Harlan Garcia takes over. Polanco, Cervelli, Dickerson. 3, 4, and 5, the heart of the Pirates order in a one-run game. Marlins by 1. 22nd game for Harlan Garcia. Of course, we've seen him in a couple of different roles for the Marlins. We'll see how many innings he eats up tonight. Again, Dan Straley, the starter, leaving after 4 2/3. Left oblique strain, day-to-day for Straley. Polanco today 0 for 2. Couple of outs in the air. 1 to right, 1 to second base as he looks at ball 2. Scorched. A base hit, right center field. Sierra cuts it off, gets it in quick. Polanco on his way to second. And he is in there safely, but you can see him wincing on the ground. Certainly hope everything's all right, but at the moment doesn't look to be the case.
I'll tell you what, it was a bit of an awkward slide as he kind of made a move to the inside part of the bag, trying to avoid the tag that was coming from Castro. Watch, kind of threw his legs out. Definitely out of position, trying to adjust. Now, he was hustling all the way. He was smelling a double. He gets around first base just fine, but Sierra, strong throw into second base, goes legs first, but kind of jumps towards that inside part of the bag, and definitely very awkward. He's still on the ground as we speak.
Looks like he's reaching for that left leg or left knee, calf, hamstring, somewhere in that area. But you're right, it was almost like that, a lunge slide to try to get there and get around the impending tag from Starlin Castro.
Yeah, there's no doubt his spikes kind of caught as he was jump sliding, I'll call it.
Yeah,
it's definitely a different look. Most guys kind of get into their slide, they try to, you know, get towards the ground. He kind of like elevated. Watch the legs. See how high he gets right there?
It was like his left leg, kind of the spike caught.
Right. Watch the spike right there. I don't know how he tweaked it.
I think to call it a hyperextension might be a little bit too much, but on the shot from center field, kind of that same camera angle, you could almost see it bend outward a little bit.
Looks like he's going to leave the game.
Well, you hope it's nothing serious. Look right here at that extended left leg as it hits the ground. The spike catches right there.
Ooh, yeah, it kind of wobbles a bit. You're right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of vulnerability. My goodness, yeah.
So Jordan Luplow will take over as the runner at second base, and certainly hope that it's, you know, looked worse than it actually was, and maybe it's not a long-term thing for Polanco, who is the team leader in home runs, RBIs. That was his team-leading 32nd double.
He's got a 7-game hitting streak. He's one of their hottest hitters. He's been a big part of what they've been doing here late, trying to finish strong, build some momentum towards next year.
Certainly walking gingerly in the Pirates dugout, and everybody turning their eyes to Polanco, who has been an offensive leader on this club for sure, and heck, his defense has been pretty good too. So Straley out with an injury, Polanco out with an injury. If we hear anything on Polanco, we'll pass it along. For now, Cervelli bats and takes a strike from Harlan Garcia. Cervelli 0 for 2, a fly ball in the second, and a strikeout looking in the fourth.
Now be very careful here. Cervelli has been one of the more dangerous Pirate hitters with runners in scoring position. On the season, .338 with 43 RBIs.
Out to left, Ortega makes the play, and Luplow is back to second. One down in the sixth. Start your day with First Things First. Join Chris Carter, Nick Wright, and Jenna Wolf for the best morning sports show on television. First Things First, weekdays on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Your morning routine just got a whole lot more fun. One on, one out for Corey Dickerson. Double back in the second inning. That was the Pirates' first hit against Straley, who surrendered 4. Didn't walk anybody and 4 strikeouts before leaving the game with that oblique injury. This one skied out toward shallow left. Back is Rojas, who calls off Ortega. 2 down.
Well, a couple of big outs for Harlan Garcia after the leadoff double.
Will flip the switch hitter Josh Bell around to the right side. The lefty Garcia on the mound. His 2-run home run, just the 9th on the year for Bell. Came back in the second inning. Swung on and missed. Mentioned earlier that he missed a little less than 2 weeks with an oblique injury himself, but does not have a multi-hit game since August 10th. Castro plays behind the second base bag, but 3 Marlins on the left side of the infield against Bell. And Peter O'Brien is 35 feet off the first base bag. Ground ball anywhere on the infield, he is going to his left. I mean,
Yeah, it's a different swing he has right-handed. Right-handed, he's got the high leg kick, stands very tall in the box. Left-handed spreads out a little bit more, or does a little bit more of a toe tap. So 2 different swings, 2 different approaches. Interestingly enough, at least as far as batting average is concerned, relatively the same, just 2 different styles. Watch, he's got the leg kick. .290 on the season. Runners in scoring position. 2 home runs. Right-handed.
Three balls and a strike to Bell, who lines one foul down the left field line. Unfortunately, just a little out in front of that one. Garcia will get set to deliver a 3-2 pitch with 2 outs and the tying run in scoring position. Marlins have taken a 3-2 lead thanks to a 3-run homer by Lewis Brinson in the top of this 6th. Inside, ball 4. Jose Ozuna will pinch hit for Colin Moran. But Ozuna, or whoever may replace him, will not face Harlan Garcia. Don Mattingly out to make the Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. Drew Ruzinski getting set to come out here in the bottom of the 6th.
Join the Marlins on Thursday, September 20th for social media night when we take on the Reds. Purchase a ticket package and receive a social media night t-shirt and the opportunity to have your social media content run pregame on the Marlins Vision. For tickets, visit marlins.com/social media.
Well, lots of changes here in Pittsburgh. It was supposed to be Colin Moran. He was then lifted for a pinch hitter, Jose Ozuna. Garcia was on the mound. He's not in. It's Drew Ruzinski. And Adam Frazier is going to be the pinch hitter for the Pirates as Drew Ruzinski pitches in his 25th game this year for the Marlins.
Ruzinski's done a very nice job. 3.62 ERA.
He'll face one of the hottest hitters in the Pirates lineup in the second half of the season. Frazier takes a ball outside. Leading the team with a .348 average in the second half is Adam Frazier.
Well, this has been a key spot that Ruzinski has had tons of success in this season. 18 inherited runners, 15 have been stranded.
Ball to strike to Frazier. $14 doubles, 5 homers, 20 runs, and 20 RBIs since the All-Star break.
But he hasn't taken to pinch hitting too well, only 4 for 25.
To second, and runner Dickerson is back, or Luplow rather.
Four for 25.
Hey, I'd lean on those. Love it. It's a different beast. Not in the rhythm of the game. Coming off the bench.
Well, both benches have lots of options here in September.
Ruzinski set for a 2-1 pitch on the way to Frazier. Right field toward the pole. Foul. Just a hair out in front. Good look down the line. Clearly foul. So Ruzinski another chance to retire Frazier. 2-2. And just got a piece.
Ruzinski, four-seam fastball, splitty slider. Oh, it's hitting just 194 that first inning. He pitches. He's done just such a fantastic job coming out of the bullpen and quieting down some intense innings.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. Did he go? No swing, says Greg Gibson. And the runners will get a head start.
Didn't break his wrists.
I would agree. Runners off with the 3-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Well, Ruzinski does it again. In a big spot against a hot hitter, and Ruzinski wins the battle and protects that 3-2 Marlins lead. 3-2 lead here in the top of the 7th inning. Beautiful night in the Steel City as we welcome you back here inside PNC Park and inside the broadcast booth. I am Paul. He is Todd. And it's been a good one tonight.
I'll tell you what, Lewis Brinson, boy oh boy, as he picked up the offense tonight. We talked about it a little bit coming into this ball game. At times the Marlins have some issues scoring runs on the road, and he has really done it all tonight. A great at bat early. Saw him turn around velocity. Huge 3-run home run against Archer, who was kind of cruising right along, and took advantage of a couple of guys on base.
So again, with the struggles that have been going on all year for Lewis Brinson, the hope for him, and certainly he has delivered the first week or so since expanding rosters, is to finish strong. You see the changes for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Frazier stays in the game at second as Sierra takes ball 1. And Luplow, who came in as the pinch runner for the injured Gregory Polanco, stays in the game in right field. And Rodriguez, the new pitcher, delivers a strike. 1-1.
Rodriguez has had 8 consecutive scoreless appearances. He's been pitching well out of the Pirates' pen. 72 strikeouts, most by a Pirates rookie reliever since Archimedes Caminero. 73 strikeouts in 2015.
There's another strikeout, one away here in the 7th. So Archer's day is done. 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Austin Dean off the bench for the Marlins, hitting in the pitcher's spot. And taking outside for ball 1. Quickly 0-2 from Rodriguez. Be interesting to see how the Marlins utilize their bullpen the rest of the way. Yes, they had the off day yesterday, but Don Mattingly made mention to bullpen usage, not getting too exact with how he plans on using everybody, but kind of alluded to the fact that maybe you won't see guys work back-to-back days with so many options down there. But again, want to win ball games. Going to the bottom of the 7th inning, up at least 1 run. You'd figure you'd see the quote-unquote big boys coming out there. You tell from here that the tall, lanky Teheran Guerrero is up in the pen, may get the 7th. Three-two pitch. Foul back. Dean had the lone RBIs for the Marlins on Wednesday. 1 for 3, couple of ribbies. Out to center field, Marte back toward the track will make the catch for the 2nd out in the 7th.
Good at bat by Dean, waited for his pitch. Drove it out to center field. Good swing.
Trying to pass along some information there. How that pitch from Rodriguez moves.
Well, it's not overpowering velocity that Rodriguez possesses, though. He does crossfire. What I mean by that, that front shoulder stays closed, hides the ball well. You kind of see him throw across his body. You want a comparison, think maybe a little Jake Arrieta, just a little more fluid.
Got fouled by Ortega, 0-2. Ortega 0 for 3 tonight, but does have hits in 18 of his first 23 games with the Marlins. Cut on and missed. And Rodriguez comes out of the Pirates bullpen and sets the Marlins down in order. Stretch time in Pittsburgh. Back, T-Mobile built for baseball. Shohei Ohtani has been in the news the last couple of days. So as a pitcher, he needs Tommy John surgery, but as a hitter, he is going to finish the year and a multi-home run game the other night.
19th home run of the season, just enough. Get it out at, I believe, Guaranteed Rate Park now.
Yes, I believe that's what that's called.
Thank you. I'm used to calling it the Cell. I won't do that anymore.
Yes, please do not do that. But
Change
yes.
names, but an impressive swing. I believe, but I also believe that was Carlos Rodon that he hit that off of. No easy task.
No, that was his 19th home run. He had a multi-home run game a couple of days ago. But all this while finding out that he's not having that he's going to be having Tommy John surgery.
Isn't that an amazing conversation?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Right, you go into the doctor, he says, yeah, it doesn't look good, we need to fix your elbow, but we're, you know, go ahead and keep hitting the rest of the season as long as it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, and he says, okay, we'll do.
And gets hotter. I mean, he's been raking this week.
Teheran Guerrero, 55th game. Saw Isaac Galloway out and left. The only other defensive change as Jordy Mercer will lead things off. Mercer, and then the pitcher spot due up next. Starling Marte, 8-9-1 for the Pirates here in the 7th. So if you were running a ball club, let's just say you're running the Angels, what would you do with Shohei Ohtani going forward? Have his, in your mind, hitter/pitcher days, are those over, or are you still going to try to work this out once the recovery from Tommy John is done?
That's a great question. Boy, oh boy, is it a tough one, I think, to answer, just because, I mean, you're seeing what he's doing right now. I mean, clearly, if the season, you know, I mean, if he, let's just say, plays out September, right, and with each passing day doesn't have the Tommy John surgery, you know, you get to the start of next season, you'd like to believe that he's still healthy enough to be able to swing the bat much like he's doing right now, right? So it's not like we have evidence that he's not going to be able to, other than the fact he's ultimately has to have surgery And when he has that surgery, regardless, I mean, he's going to be out of baseball for an extended period of time. He's not going to be pitching, and he's not going to be hitting either.
Right.
So, wow, tough one for the Angels to answer when you add up all of those ingredients. My, oh my, I mean,
it's a conundrum.
It really is, because, you know, you're going to get to the start of a season and say to yourself, well, we could have him. You know, we could have him if we don't want him to pitch anymore, and we just want him to hit. And you're going to miss him at the beginning of the season. But
now, okay, so
I don't even know how to answer the question. I'm not sure anybody knows how to answer the tough part of the question, which is, how does the rehab process go, and when can he start hitting again? You know what I mean? You know, can 8 months or 9 months into the recovery, can he start to hit while still recovering? You know, on the throwing part of it.
They check over at first, no swing. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Jordy Mercer. That's what I was going to ask about from the hitting mechanics side of things. So he throws righty and he hits lefty.
Right.
So that's that front arm, or that bottom hand.
Right.
I was trying to do the math because I'm a righty, so I'd flip it around. But how would that affect an elbow injury? I know you're not a doctor, but how would that affect it just in terms of the strain on that right elbow?
Well, listen, I think it would be a bigger deal if it were his back arm, meaning it's the lesser of two evils, so to speak, if you know what I mean. But at the same time, it's going to be all about strength, because so much of it, and I'm a lefty and I do everything left-handed, and you're talking about my right arm and we're pulling through, so I know the feel and what goes into that right arm. He's going to have to get that back to 100% strength to be able to pull the knob of the bat through, in and top, you know, down and through the zone.
Fair ball, third base line. Bounces off that wall that juts out. Jordy Mercer has himself a leadoff double here in the 7th.
Since the 2-run home run from Josh Bell in the 2nd inning, the Pirates have been held off the scoreboard. Certainly not because they haven't tried. Here in the 5th and 6th, now the 7th, have put runners on base in every inning, with runners in scoring position as well. Mercer picks on an 85-mile-an-hour slider and rips it into the corner just past third.
So Pablo Reyes has been announced as the pinch hitter. One of the September call-ups for the Pittsburgh Pirates at 289 this year in the minor leagues. In Indianapolis in the minor leagues. Double-barreled action for the Pirates. With Crick on the right, Santana on the left. Corners up for the Marlins, expecting a bunt from Reyes. Doesn't look to be bunting, certainly not on that first pitch. 1-0. Here comes from Guerrero, fouled back.
That's a pretty healthy swing. No bunt there. Reyes 2 for 5 on the season. Does have a pinch hit at bat. 0 for 1.
Back to the screen again. A ball and 2 strikes. Reyes provides the Pirates with a little bit of defensive versatility in the time that he may get a chance to play. 42 appearances in left, 27 at third, 20 in center, 9 at short, 9 at second this year at Indianapolis. One ball, 2 strikes. 199 from Teheran Guerrero. Got him to chase. Big strikeout for Guerrero. First out here in the 7th.
And I'll tell you what, some fantastic sequencing from Guerrero. This has been talked about certainly a lot by me over the last few times he's been out. He certainly struggled. You see that fastball and that velocity an awful lot. He used it to get ahead, but that was the slider that he was looking for. The put-away slider at 87 miles an hour off that outside edge. Nice job. He does that a little bit more. He's going to realize that his arsenal's got another pitch that he can count on. He's really trying to learn how to use the slider here in the second half.
Marte in the air toward center. Brinson back to the track. Will have enough room. And Mercer up to third. But the second out here in the 7th inning. Kramer steps up. We check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Paul, Kevin Kramer helping to create his own version of Seinfeld night at the ballpark simply by sitting next to one of his teammates. Take a look at this picture of Kramer right next to Kevin Newman. That is gold for a Seinfeld fan. Kramer and Newman are both iconic characters. Now, apparently they'd been planning this for a while together, but the best part about it, guys, they were both born in 1994. Come on, Seinfeld was already in its 4th season by then.
Yeah, I guess neither one of those guys really watched the show or really got into it. But through the minor leagues, they've taken a lot of questions about that. But that is gold, Jess. That's gold. Kramer and Newman. Swung on and missed at 100. Up the middle and through for a base hit. And Kramer has tied the game.
Well, after swinging and missing at a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, Guerrero dials it up to 101. What's Kramer do? Drives it back through the middle. This may be a little bit more down in the zone, but a 2-out RBI nonetheless for Kramer. This game is tied.
This would have been Polanco's spot, but Luplow, who came in as a pinch runner for Polanco, who left the game with a leg injury, will get this at bat. Another September call up for the Pirates. 287 hitter this year at Indianapolis, 88 games with them, 25 doubles and 8 homers. Kramer's base hit, scoring the only run that hasn't come across on a home run. 2-run home run by Josh Bell in the bottom of the 2nd inning. A 3-run home run by Lewis Brinson in the top of the 6th. And the Kramer RBI to tie it a moment ago. One ball, 2 strikes. This one in the air, right center field. Sierra looks up, and that one is gone. A 2-run home run for Jordan Luplow, and the Pirates have retaken the lead.
Well, a huge moment. Luplow forced into the ball game with the Polanco injury. Down in the count, 2 strikes. Shows us time and again, it is not about how many times you can get to triple digits, but where triple digits ends up, that splits the plate thigh high. Jumped all over it and drove it out to right center field.
.386 to the right, 385, I guess we'll call it, to the right center field gap.
A huge 2-out rally for the Pirates here in the bottom of the 7th.
Outside to Cervelli. Guerrero came in, gave up the double to Mercer, struck out the pinch hitter Reyes, got Marte to fly out, but then the equalizer, the RBI single for Kramer, and the 2-run home run for Luplow, and now it's a 5-3 deficit for the Marlins. Cervelli swings and misses. Bounces that one in there. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, Guerrero has now given up multiple runs in his last 3 appearances.
The 2-2 to Cervelli misses low. Home run has now put Rodriguez in line for the win. Maybe that's why he was
trying to rip his head off.
So excited. Yeah, something like that. What that was.
Very passionate about that home run.
Cervelli swings and misses, but the damage done in the inning. 3 runs come across, 2 on the swing by Luplow. We'll check in with the studio after the break. themselves down a couple of runs. They have been down for a few innings in the middle before that Brinson home run. We'll see if they can erase another deficit. But a 2-run home run by Luplow. As Pablo Reyes stays in the game, he'll take over at third. And a new pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates as Edgar Santana takes over his 64th game of the season.
Now one of the hotter arms out of the Pirates bullpen. 2.45 ERA on the season, has allowed just 1 run in his last 17 innings of work. 17 2/3.
There's a strike to Starlin Castro. Castro, Real Muto, and Anderson for the Marlins here in the 8th inning. Castro a hit back in the 3rd. Down 0-2.
Santana, 2 types of fastballs, the 4-seamer, the 2-seamer, also the slider. It's his put-away pitch. Throws it about 40% of the time. A good arm, 95, 96. Slider at 87, 88.
Castro left field. That one's going to get down and head toward the corner. Goes off the wall. And Castro into second base with a leadoff double. So another multi-hit game for Starlin Castro. 5th in his last 8.
Yeah, this slider did not do much out over the plate. Spinning, it was ripped into the corner by Starlin. A good swing there on a mistake pitch.
So now JT Realmuto. He had himself a double back in the 6th inning. Takes low for ball 1. One for 3 tonight for JT. It's one of Archer's 6 strikeout victims tonight. Got on and missed. JT left field and spinning in all sorts of directions is Dickerson, but he's able to make the play. And
wow.
Back to second is Castro.
I'll tell you what, this is an impressive catch. Boy, boy. Well, if he was an honest man, he'd probably tell you he was a little bit more nervous than he made it look, right? So drop steps back and realizes that he went back, I'd say maybe a step too far. Dickerson's a very good outfielder and realizes, my goodness, one more step, it certainly would have cost him. That ball would have gotten down, but able to recover. Actually make it look pretty easy, didn't it?
In some ways,
right.
Yes. As long as you look at that last frame of him catching the ball. I don't think route efficiency is still a thing, but if it was, that would be interesting to see what that looked like. Kind of looked like a question mark.
Well, I'll go a little old school on you, Paul. Catch the ball.
That's it. That's it. Route efficiency 100%. Now that one was stung off the bat by JT Realmuto, unfortunately right at Dickerson. So now it's Brian Anderson. Takes low, ball and a strike. BA with a single in the 4th inning, walked and scored on the Brinson home run in the 6th.
Couple of nice at bats against Archer. Just trying to get some momentum going for a good push here in the month. He wants to finish strong.
Conley the lefty, Whitgren the righty. Still 5 outs to work with if you are the Marlins, but you'd love to put a dent, score runs, plural, perhaps in this inning, and stay away from Vasquez. This one, a fly ball out to right field for out number 2.
MLB at Bat is your #1 Marlins app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Marlins home screen icons and features such as MLB.TV, Game of the Day, live radio broadcasts, in-game highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today.
So Dietrich will pinch hit for Rojas. Now the reason why I say now would be the inning to do something is because Felipe Vasquez awaits, and Vasquez is 20 for his last 20 in save opportunities with a 1.26 ERA in his last 35.
So what are you saying?
Now is the time.
Maybe he's due.
That too.
All right, I'm with you. I like to play the odds though.
Sure.
It's like Frazier. 4 for 26 now, pinch hitting.
You did get that one right. But that was also trusting the numbers, which is what I was
going with the runners in scoring position.
Right. Dietrich looks at ball one.
Dietrich does have 3 pinch hits this season, 3 for 19 with an RBI.
He's got 16 home runs. 10 of them have either been go ahead or game tying. Seven go ahead home runs, 3 game tying homers. Lewis Brinson waits on deck. Couple of hits for him today. Not a huge sample size, but Dietrich has enjoyed his 4 games here at PNC Park. A couple of doubles, a home run, 5 ribbies.
Well, he routinely gets to perform in front of mom and dad. They make the trip in to see him. They know that they are here enjoying the game tonight.
Right side, Bell thought about flipping and threw a bit of a changeup over to Santana, who was able to make the play. We go to the last of the 8th. Pirates in front by 2. Tomorrow is the second game of this 3-game series. Marlins and Pirates get going in the afternoon. Marlins live pregame show on the air at 12:30. First pitch a little after 1 here in the Steel City. Ivan Nova goes for the Buccos, and Wei-Yin Chen is on the mound for the Marlins. Chen, his last time out was a doozy. 8 innings of work for Wei-Yin Chen. His 23rd start. There have been, you know, we've made an awful lot, and I'm sure we'll talk about it tomorrow at some point, the home road splits. But there have been some really good starts along the way this year.
Well, his last road start was, like I said, against DC. It was a good one, 5 2/3, couple of earned runs, so nothing to complain about there. I think tomorrow's going to be an interesting one playing off of tonight. So much of tonight's game, we talked about sliders. Dan Straley, Archer, both using it an awful lot. For Chen and Nova, similar theme, different pitch. We're talking fastballs. Chen's has been absolutely outstanding over his last 2 starts, and we certainly know that's what Nova does. He brings the sinker.
Nick Whitgren on to pitch the bottom of the 8th inning, trying to keep this at a 2-run deficit. Corey Dickerson, Josh Bell, and Adam Frazier due up for the Pirates here in the 8th inning. Ground ball to Castro at second for the first out in the 8th.
This is Whitgren's 3rd appearance since being reinstated to the active roster here at the big league level. 4 earned runs, 2 2/3. Now 3 innings of work, only 1 hit allowed. Does have a couple of strikeouts.
Bell takes outside for ball 1. That 2-run home run that he hit to the left of center field back in the 2nd inning got the scoring started. Pirates had that lead until the top of the 6th when Lewis Brinson answered with a 3-run homer. It's Rivera at short, waits for the good hop and makes the play. Time for the Bonefish Grill fresh catch of the day.
Right here.
Look at
Mondesi
Alberto
throws
Mondesi.
back.
Oh,
Man,
what a play is right. Up the middle on the shift. Ranging over to make the play.
Paul, I'll tell you what, that's going to be a keeper. I think we're going to end up talking about that one at the end of the season when we say, okay, well, what was some of the best defensive plays we've seen this year?
Right.
When you factor in everything, not just the ball up the middle, the range, I will gladly talk about all the momentum that he had going towards left field and not towards first base, and still able to get that out. My goodness.
Well, you knew he'd have a good arm. It's Raul's son.
Oh, that's right. That's El Cañon Jr. That's what Mondesi went by. Big cannon on his right arm.
That's right. I do recall that.
Remember the day he showed it to me for the first time. He said, Holly, you like this? And I said, well, it's your name. It's appropriate. You are known as the Cannon.
Adam Frazier takes strike 2. The aforementioned Felipe Vasquez up in the Pirates bullpen. Low and away, 3-2. Brinson, O'Brien, and Sierra due up against the lefty. Slap down the left field line and into the seats. Frazier will see another 3-2. Frazier came in the 6th inning. Struck out against Drew Ruzinski. That ended the 6th. But it was in the 7th that the Pirates scored 3 runs to retake the lead. Called strike 3. Whitgren gets him at the bottom of the strike zone. And we move to the 9th inning. Marlins looking for a rally against Vasquez. West, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Staples, the back-to-school specialty store. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. Beautiful night at a beautiful ballpark here in Pittsburgh. PNC Park, first of three. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, Jessica Blaylock back with you. Marlins looking for a late rally against Felipe Vasquez. 61st game for him this season, has 30 saves, but he has converted his last 20, pitching to a 1.26 ERA in that span.
Yeah, the 76 strikeouts certainly stand out in the 59 innings of work. Four-seam fastball, change and slider. Well, he throws hard, high 90s
or hundreds,
sometimes 100. And where I was going with that is that, you know, he leans on, he's a unique closer, I think, in today's game. You know, he's one of the few that features 3 pitches and uses them all. You'll see the fastball, obviously a lot of velocity to go along with it. You'll also see a change in the slider, and he uses that change-up slider combination as the primary, secondary pitches. Both are very good pitches for him.
The 2-0 to Brinson, ripped through the left side, a base hit, and Brinson with a 3-hit game. A double, a homer, and now a single in the 9th.
I tell you what, Paul, we talked confidence. I think it was after game number 2 when Brinson was, you know, getting his hits, but the exit velocity was a little different. I mean, goodness gracious, if your confidence doesn't go through the roof after hitting 98 at the top of the strike zone, as we talked about his first at bat, I mean, that's what leads you to these moments right here. You believe that you're going to hit anybody's fastball in your spot, anywhere near the plate. That's the kind of confidence that Brinson's got right now. I'll tell you right now, watching what we've seen, I wouldn't put it past him. He is probably going to have a huge September. All signs are pointing in that direction right now.
Peter O'Brien takes outside. Now, Brinson has had himself a nice night, not just with the hits, but again, we talk about it a lot, but I'll back it up with the numbers here too. Is the hard contact will eventually, you'll get hits.
Right.
If they're finding gloves, you will eventually get hits. That last one was 109.5 off the bat. His home run earlier was 102.5. The double was 98 miles an hour off the bat. So he is squaring balls up, and it's certainly been good for him, and now it brings up the tying run. Peter O'Brien awaits the 1-1 pitch and lines this one foul down the right field line.
O'Brien certainly capable of tying this ball game up with one swing.
His last homer came in 2016 against Johnny Cueto. He's a member of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. That one gets away from Cervelli, and up to second goes Brinson.
Well, let's take another look. It's the slider. Gets to the inside part of the plate off the top of the glove, off of Cervelli's glove.
Sixth pass ball for Francisco Cervelli.
They've had some issues with that this season. Certainly something to keep an eye on in the series. 81 wild pitches as well. That's actually most in Major League Baseball.
Almost looked like he got crossed up. At the time, nobody was on second base. Well, nevertheless, there's a runner there now. Peter O'Brien, a guy who's tied a Southern League record earlier this year with home runs in 6 straight games for Jacksonville in early June. And he looks at a call, strike 3.
Yeah, that's about as good a pitcher's pitch as you're going to make in a huge moment in this ball game. This is what Vasquez is paid to do. Dial up those low corners with high velocity. He finds it on the 3-2 pitch. 99 miles an hour.
So Chris Bostic will hit for Sierra. Fouls the first pitch back and out of play. Bostic came over from Pittsburgh. Earlier this year. Of course, had that fun story. Maybe not so much fun for him. He got his bags lost, but was passing through Atlanta, and that's when the Marlins needed him when Martin Prado went on the disabled list.
Well, he hasn't gotten a whole lot of playing time, but he certainly has capitalized in his pinch hitting opportunities. 2 for 3 with an RBI coming into this pinch hit.
One-two pitch. This is upstairs. Cervelli able to corral that one at 101 miles an hour. Tell you what, it's fun to watch Cervelli work behind the plate. You see him the last couple of pitches kind of directing traffic, not just giving signs to the pitcher, but telling Bell where to stand over at first, back up a couple of steps. Then he's pointing down to Frazier at second base where he wants him to stay. Bostic fouls it back to the screen. Ryan Holiday waits on deck. Pitcher spot due up next for the Marlins. Brinson away from second. Outside. Fans don't like it, but that one clearly away. Payoff pitch to Bostic. Behind second. And the Marlins are down to their final out.
Holiday comes in hitting .201 on the season, does have 15 RBIs. Fared pretty well as the pinch hitter, 4 for 10.
In there for a called strike. Now you can see why this guy'd be tough to hit.
Not only are you seeing 98 to 100 miles an hour pretty regularly, as I mentioned, possesses 2 secondary pitches. You just saw both of them there. First pitch, curveball, to get ahead in the count and actually backed it up right there. That was an 89-mile-an-hour changeup.
One 99 miles an hour, maybe a little out of the zone. But Holiday and the Marlins down to their last strike.
Well, most of what Vasquez has done has been middle away.
Sir, it wasn't that close.
Clearly disappointed at the last ball call.
Two balls, two strikes, two outs. Marlins down 2. Here it comes. Upstairs, 3-2. On the ground right side for Frazier. And the Pirates take the opener of this 3-game series. Three home runs in this ball game. Josh Bell, a 2-run home run. Lewis Brinson, a 3-run home run, but a 3-run 7th. The difference in this one, as Jordan Luplo's 2-run shot after the Pirates had tied the game a moment earlier, is the difference in a 5-3 Bucco win. Marlins Live post-game show is coming up on the other side of the break. For Todd Hollinsworth and Jessica Blaylock, I'm Paul Severino. Thanks for watching.